Attention gamers, we have a problem. Let's talk about it. As you might have heard, there is a controversy floating around the internet today. What controversy am I talking about? I'm talking about the price of games. Nintendo, recently at a convention, announced the Switch 2, as well as some new details, new trailers, new sneak peeks at the new Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2, coming out very, very soon. I think it's coming out this year, as a matter of fact. And during these announcements, they also informed their customers and their fans and loyal Nintendo people that the games are going to be costing anywhere between $80 to $90 for a brand new video game, including titles that were on the Nintendo Switch 1. Fact check me on that one. You might want to fact check me on the Nintendo Switch 1 part. It would probably be smart for you guys to fact check me on that. This, of course, had gamers in an absolute fury over the idea of video games costing $80 to $90. God forbid a video game cost money. God forbid in this economy that a video game cost any more than a few dollars. So Nintendo announced this, and people have been in an absolute uproar. They're furious. They're angry. They don't know what's going on. Nintendo, how could you do this to us? Nintendo, how could you make your games so freaking expensive? And of course, gamers then wondered, obviously, Microsoft and Sony couldn't possibly ever do us dirty. They're going to protect us from these expensive prices, right? Wrong. Xbox and Sony have both already announced the same fate for their video game, which is ridiculous. Gone are the days of the console wars, Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo, all the separation, which one's better, Xbox or PlayStation, Halo or Uncharted, The Last of Us or Mario Kart or Party or whatever one. The answer is no one cares anymore. Because now we have a new adversary at hand, and that adversary is the very companies that brought us these beloved video games in the first place. You might think that that the developers of the video games would come to our aid and say, we will not be marketing our games with such expensive prices. Well, guess what? We were wrong. As you know, I myself am a very, very big Borderlands fan. And as of recently, there's been a ton of hype for the new Borderlands, Borderlands 4 coming out. And I'm very excited about that. The project manager, if you will, the legend himself, Mr. Randy Pitchford, recently released a statement where somebody said, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. And to which Randy Pitchford replied, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. So basically what Randy Pitchford has done is he's just said, find a way to make it happen. Which, you know, Randy Pitchford making a statement like this is actually not really all that shocking, considering Nobody likes Randy Pitchford to begin with. Everybody knows that Randy Pitchford is a notorious douchebag. So this statement really shouldn't shock anybody. It doesn't shock me because not even after that, Randy Pitchford came out with another statement saying, for all of our real fans who may be cost sensitive, the very awesome and incredibly fun smash hit video game Tiny Tina's Wonderland is free this week on Epic Games Store. Please enjoy this free gift by grabbing your free copy here. Free. So obviously, Randy Pitchford doesn't know what's going on, and he's just out there to piss people off. But it also just goes to show you that most developers aren't going to care. The way that Randy Pitchford is talking about this is probably the same way that everybody else is going to talk about it. But games are getting expensive. You know, it's just the way the world is right now. Things are more expensive. Things are more expensive, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Not a whole lot we can do about it. At some point, I personally feel like Nintendo and Microsoft and all these companies and what have you, they might back down with the whole $80 game price thing. Because to be honest, really, I'm not even kidding with you when I say nobody is going to want to pay $80 for a game. Xbox, people who are Xbox fans, it'll probably come out on Game Pass. New games will probably come out on Game Pass, and it'll be a lot easier to get them via the Game Pass, you know. That's what I do. I like the Game Pass. I know a lot of people don't like the Game Pass, but I do. That to me is going to be like a way to bypass the expensive game thing. Is if something does well enough, it will end up on the Game Pass. I pay for Game Pass, but I can have a plethora of games, you know, and I don't even worry about the cost of them. Some games that I have on my Xbox are $80, like special editions of games, and they're on the Game Pass. But, you know, it doesn't bother me because I have a whole archive of games. I barely buy games brand new. I either buy them on sale or I download them from the Game Pass. I think PlayStation has I don't own a PlayStation, by the way. My brother does. I don't. But to my knowledge, I think there's something similar, like PlayStation Play Days or something. I don't remember what it is, but PlayStation has a similar system to the Game Pass, I think. So the thing about it is what I want to ask everybody is, are we really going to be that upset about the price of games? I mean, it just seems to be the way it's going right now. And to be honest with you, the only games that are going to be so heavily priced are big AAA games. Are huge project, like big developer AAA games like Madden, like Call of Duty, like Dragon Ball. Or I don't know about Dragon Ball, but like titles with like big names, Mario and Smash Brothers and like The Last of Us, things like that. Those are what are going to be expensive. Do we really care enough about the price of a video game? If you really want to pay it or play it, you really want to play it, you'll pay for it. If you really want to go to Disneyland, you'll go to Disneyland. If you really want to, go out to eat with your family and friends, you'll go out to eat with your family and friends and you'll pay for it. So for video games, why should it be any different? If you enjoy video games that much, you're going to pay for it. If you can't, then you won't. You'll wait for a sale. You'll wait for the Game Pass or PlayStation or whatever it is. PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus? Is it PlayStation Plus? I don't remember. Anyway, it's going to happen. Randy Pitchford is an incredible douchebag, and so are every other AAA game developers, but they don't matter. They don't affect the actual gamers themselves. People just ignore these people. If you're upset about like $80 games and stuff, just wait for sales. You know, just wait for sales. And if you can't afford it, that's fine. You know, it'll go on sale at some point. You'll be able to get it at some point. You know, it's not like it's, going to be that bad. And personally, I think they might back down from all these crazy prices. I don't know. But it's a little wild, everything that's going on. You know, especially with like the Nintendo Switch. It's funny that they announced the Switch 2 which I honestly think maybe is kind of a good thing that they're making a Switch 2 right now instead of just sticking with the original Switch. Because in my personal opinion, the original Switch has a lot of issues with it, like a lot of issues. So maybe the Switch 2 is going to be like a big step up. And from what I saw, the Switch 2 is not that expensive. So a super inexpensive console with some expensive games, I really don't care. I really don't care. I know there's a lot of people that are really upset about it. There's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford these games, which is really tragic. Who knows? Maybe we'll start a service one day where we buy them at full price and we take the money out of our pockets and we sell them to those who are less fortunate and can't purchase games like that. It'll be like Robin Hood. Take from the rich, give to the poor. No, I'm just kidding. That just sounds like me being a Democrat again. I'm not. I'm not a Democrat. Okay? Don't you be mistaking me for a freaking liberal. I'm not a liberal. I'm freaking all about the guns and the country. You can't buy an $80 video game? Good! Go play outside! Stop crying about your video games because they're not important. Go throw sticks at each other. Go touch grass. But in general, it's been an interesting kind of thing. Really, $80 for a game, it's not that bad. Personally, I don't buy video games that often for the price of a brand new video game to affect me. Especially like AAA games for that. Like big titles and stuff, I don't really buy those. But I guess we'll see what happens. I guess we'll see how this controversy all blows over. Maybe it'll be exciting. Maybe it'll just be a whole mess. Maybe it'll just be terrible and, video games are just going to suck and we really don't want to spend $80 on them, so it won't affect us because we're not going to buy them anyway. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really hope that that you guys are excited about the Switch 2. I know I am. I'm excited to see what happens. Maybe it'll be better than the Switch 1. I don't know. Maybe it will be. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!